Things at BlackBerry have gotten so bad that even the analysts think it's bad, and you know that's a dark day. One called it the worst miss ever when BlackBerry on Friday announced it was going to write down almost $1 billion of inventory, cut 40% of jobs. It's sort of more than just a financial thing. It's a symbolic thing.
It's a Palm thing. They've turned into Palm. They turned into Palm a while ago, actually. And it's just finally the market and the company realizing just how dire the company's position is.
I mean, Rob Cox, our editor-in-chief, kind of wrote this piece today talking about the symbolism of it and the fact that when BlackBerry first came out at the turn of the millennium, it was sort of this cool, this kind of elite status.
It was an aspirational gadget. Everyone wanted to be. You know, you'd go into a bar and you'd look kind of cool if you had the BlackBerry pager.
Well, it was the first smartphone, so
exactly.
people were typing. No one was like, "What is that? What are you doing?" And it became, and now it's come full circle.
It's a bit embarrassing to hear.
It's also kind of a little bit symbolic, right? The financial crisis hit in 2008. The first rumblings were in 2007. Middle of 2007, BlackBerry, then known as Research in Motion, hit its maximum market cap. It was about $70 billion. It was actually more than half the market cap of Apple at the time.
Wow.
Now it's $4 billion, 1% of the market cap of Apple.
Well, Apple just today has gained more market cap, way more market cap than even BlackBerry is worth.
Well, because the results. They said they sold 9 million phones in the first weekend. They were all...
This is Apple.
This is Apple. Yep. They said the earnings, revenue is going to be at the high end, and so is gross margins. In other words, this quarter is going to be a really good quarter because of such demand for the new 5S.
And we had this thing where the phone rolled out, the Apple phone, and there was sort of this like, oh, well, it's not a real game changer. They made a few tweaks, but now people are playing with it and really seeing there's some big, obviously people bought them.
Playing with the new operating system, you're saying this is actually, it's really fast and it works really well. The other thing is it's also, it was a perception game. Everyone expected Apple to have so much better than their previous gadget. The problem is it's more like running against, for Research in Motion, it's like running away from a bear. You have to be as long as you're faster than your competitor, you're doing pretty well. And Apple's so much faster than Research in Motion. Obviously, that Research in Motion is getting mauled.
Right. What about the Apple? I mean, we've seen, it's starting to take off a little bit.
Right.
These numbers are not exactly comparable. You were making the point, I guess. And you also stumbled on some interesting things that the BlackBerry CEO seemed to have said quite a while ago.
BlackBerry kind of was a very business product. Apple came out with the iPhone in 2007. The BlackBerry CEO said, kind of implied it was a bit of a gimmick. He basically said it wasn't a game changer for BlackBerry, which could be the most incorrect assessment that could have been made. And clearly it's become a consumer game as well as a business game, but primarily a consumer game of smartphones. And Apple, Samsung, and Google's Android operating system in combination have basically eaten BlackBerry's lunch, and that's...
Do we have any sense on the fate of BlackBerry at this point? I mean, we saw there was some news, I guess, that the CEO has started to make some calls to some private equity firms to see if there's any interest.
It's a patent play. In other words, it's similar to Kodak in that everyone got very excited about the patents, and it's a question of their value is what other people will pay for them. So if you get a bidding war between Android and the Android system and Apple, then perhaps they're worth quite a bit. If not, the company's worth very little.
All right, we will leave it there, and we'll keep following the sad tale of BlackBerry, and we'll be back with more Breaking Views tomorrow.